year is 1910. One of the companies I mentioned, Coyamel, was doing most of its business in the country of Honduras, when the president of Honduras, Miguel Davila, decided to give a land grant to the Vaccaro Bros in exchange for helping to build some roadways. In doing so, they basically stole a bunch of Coyamel's potential plantations and gave them to a competitor. So Samuel Zamuri, owner of Coyamel, said to himself, "Dang, I hate those guys. If only there was some way for a guy like me to significantly influence the world around him for his own personal gain." Wait a minute, so he used
Right, exactly. So the money these guys were making gave them a lot of power, and in particular, a lot of political influence, right? This is an era, sort of the mid to late 1800s into the 1900s, where there were a lot of rich businessmen in the United States, and they exerted themselves politically throughout the world, right? Hawaii is a good example of this. The independent government of Hawaii was essentially brought down by a group of these businessmen who were making a lot of money on sugar in particular, but other crops and businesses in Hawaii, right? And the involvement of the United States government, it varied, right? Sometimes the United States government wasn't incredibly involved. It would usually get involved after enough time had passed. Sometimes there was tacit approval of these guys. Like, you know what, we're not gonna support you out in the open, but behind the scenes, sure. Sometimes there was open approval. I mean, I'm sure in this video we'll see a lot of blatant interference from the United States. And sometimes, for the most sort of crazy of these individuals, the United States government even said, okay, don't do that. But oftentimes for these types of guys, there was tacit approval, and even if there wasn't in the moment, the US government would usually eventually get on board because it either meant new territory, like in the case of Hawaii, or money, like in all of these cases, or at least political power.